We've all heard about the value women bring to the corporates. We've all heard about shareholder values going up where there's good diversity. And there's always a conscious effort by a lot of large corporations to hire women. Yet very few reach the top. Most of them fizzle out and leave the organization in their 20s and 30s. So just to understand what's really going on and not being limited to my own experiences, I spoke to two young women. One of them, a company secretary and also a qualified lawyer who was working with an MNC. She's around 29, Parul, and she recently left her job and ventured into her own startup. The second one is a dentist, similar story, in her early 30s. She was earlier working with a very well-known dental chain. Post having a baby, she too quit, and she too has started her own clinic and now is raising funding for a dental chain. So I just wanted to peel the onion over here and really understand what was going on. So when I asked Parul, have you ever faced any kind of discrimination at work or earlier related to gender, related to these biases? This is what she had to say.
As per me, the gender bias exists everywhere, and it doesn't start from the college, it starts from the school even. Because sometimes the girls are asked to wear like suits in the schools, as well as sometimes they are not promoted to participate in the sports competition because of the menstrual cycle. So these all things starts from the school.
Parul went on to explain how gender bias had affected her right from school. She had to drop out from sports despite being a great player. She was simply not selected because sooner or later menstruation affects the player's ability to compete in cross-school competitions. I was quite surprised by that. But that's her reality. She later went on to tell me she was a company secretary. Yet the kind of work that her employer gave her was often very, very secretarial in nature, photocopying, filing, versus sitting down and contributing to board meetings, something that she was hired for. Then I went on to ask her, so what was her experience with motherhood? How did her company treat her then? And what she said was really heart-wrenching.
After rejoining the company after the maternity leave, all of a sudden I found that there was a change in the nature of everyone. Because the questions like, और मैडम आप तो छुट्टियों से आए हो. So I just want to mention here, those are not छुट्टियाँ, those are the maternity leave. The women has to go through many changes through that period, like postpartum depression is there, stress is there, pandemic was there. My my father got sick. I was there without any help because of the COVID-19.
Really? Is maternity a vacation for a woman? Maternity is a break that's given to women to recover medically and also emotionally bond with their child and nurture that life, right? That's just come into this world. Who calls maternity a vacation? Parul also explained how during her pregnancy, when she was having some discomfort and she requested for a recliner, it was declined, simply saying we can't go and offer recliners to 300 employees. Well, how much does a recliner really cost to ensure the well-being of an employee? And why can't organizations have a few of these in the office anyway? There could be male counterparts with back problems, right? They might need a recliner. Does it really cost that much to keep a woman, or even a man for that matter, comfortable when they're working so hard for you? She also went on to explain how demands became very unreasonable after her motherhood. How simply to prove a point, her boss would often give her loads of work right in the evening and expect it by morning. It was as if she was being suffocated at work. It was as if she wasn't wanted anymore simply because she was a mother, and she quit. I also asked her husband, what was it like for you to be seeing all of this? And this is what he had to say about the whole situation.
She's a very strong person and very enjoyable person. She doesn't cry for anything. But that day she cried, I felt very bad for her. So I said to her, leave it. You could do hard work for your own firm, as your dream says that you want to build your own company. So follow your dream. So that's how we came up with idea of Tayar India.
Really, a strong woman like Parul, who then went on to launch her own boutique curated website called Tayar India, really was so heartbroken at work that she came home and cried, and then she finally quit. All of these things could have been prevented by a more compassionate employer. When I spoke to Madhu, the findings were no less shocking. I asked Madhu about her experiences starting off as a woman dentist.
What is taken into advantage is by the professors.
Okay.
Okay, so they say that they teach you, but from backhand they only forget that difference, that gap in the mask of teaching. So I think which all girls do first is your clothing. All right, you start you start behaving like you should not give ideas to people by the way you are dressed. So you leave your feminism, you start adopting.
Ouch.
Yeah.
This was shocking. A place of education, qualified professors. Is the sexual harassment really needed? Can we not be more civil? And if you are hiring a dentist, right, why not give her the job that you have hired her for? Making a dentist woman stand and attend to patients while you take care of the tough surgery. What are we trying to address over here? Are the patients coming in so uncomfortable of women dentists? Or is it the men at work who really assume that the best job a woman can do is that of being hospitable and greeting the patients? Couldn't Madhu get something more meaningful at the dental chain that she was working for? After she became a mother, was it really important that the days that she was called to work only were Saturdays, Sundays and a couple of other days? Couldn't she be given those Saturdays, Sundays off that she really needed to manage the situation between her husband and herself? We just need to take some very small steps as corporates to really make our workplace more women friendly. Avoid this loss. We invest a lot of money in getting women talent, right? So why not try and retain them? And it doesn't take a lot to do that. And it's just not about having policies for women that's going to help you retain women. With more and more nuclear families and dual careers, it's very important to have flexi policies for both men and women, especially when they welcome a little baby into their lives. There are other few things that are needed to educate your managers on the importance of diversity. Demonstrate case studies where diversity has really added to productivity. Do not hire women for managers who are not comfortable working with them, because it's not going to work out well for the organization getting a woman and then she simply leaving for lack of appreciation or meaningful roles. If you are getting women, give them meaningful roles, give them challenges, and make them deliver or make them accountable for the same results that you would have expected from a man, right? Getting a woman talent on board does not mean holding her accountable to lesser standards of performance. She's looking pretty much for the same engagement, same challenge, and same growth as her male counterpart. We all know diversity makes us stronger, so let's make a good effort. Let's try and make sure we can provide some flexibility, a lot of appreciation, and keep these women talent who are dropping out in their 20s and 30s. And let's be mature enough. Let's please try and keep sexual advancements and harassments at bay. Let's be open and embrace women at work by making it a lot safer and a friendlier place for them.